welcome in, everybody. It is yet another edition of the Kyle McCord Show. You know it. It's Tuesday at 11. Brian Higgins. That means we got QB1, Kyle McCord, hanging with us here this morning, coming off the big Cal win, getting you ready for a UConn this week, which is senior day, and then Miami is sitting out there a week from now to wrap up the regular season. And, man, makes the West Coast trips a little fun. You're 2 for 2 here, Kyle. Man, that makes the plane ride back just a little bit better, I imagine.
Yeah. I mean, that's just the extra ounce of motivation knowing that whatever the result of the game is, you have to sit on that on the plane with no Wi-Fi, really nothing else to do but to think about it for five hours. So made sure that we went 2 for 2 this year, which we did, and made that, like you said, the plane ride back home a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah, and most importantly, probably your head coach took a shower.
Yeah,
before you guys loaded up.
Yeah, both times. Yeah, both times.
What'd you guys have? You had like the body wash going there for him in the post-game locker room and the whole thing?
Yeah, he was giving out game balls to a few of the guys, and then I think it was Yasin went to the shower really quick and was like, "Hold up, Coach Friend, we got something for you." And everybody turned around. It was a Old Spice body wash bottle, and everybody was going crazy. So that was pretty funny.
I'd say Fred's pretty good on the merchandising here. I mean, he turned that from just a thing he tossed out there in a press conference to literal T-shirts in less than a week.
Yeah, no, it happens fast. Got a good team around him.
Yeah, that's impressive. Yeah. It's got its own website. He was wearing the shirt at his press conference yesterday. He doesn't miss much, does he?
No, he doesn't. No. He doesn't. I need one of those shirts, but he was wearing like a Cardigan sweater.
Yeah, he had it styled up.
Yeah, he needs to leave that one in the closet.
He had it styled in such a way, though, that it was not an accident where the edge of his sweater had landed that day. Yeah.
Yep.
Right next to the winners get washed little logo. The actual logo on the back, he should have like done a 360 spin in the whole thing with like the soap. That's kind of that's a nice one.
Yeah, no, he's smart. He's smart, but I need one, but I don't want to pay for it.
No, he's it is $35. It's a little aggressive.
I'm gonna need one for free.
Yeah, all right, friend. Hey, friend, you can do that now. Like with NIL, you can give your quarterback a shirt. Like this is not like. In the past, that would have gotten you guys on sanctions or something if he gave you a shirt. But now you can just take a shirt. Give everyone shirts. Shirts for all of us. We can style it up around town. All right, everybody, get in the chat. Get your questions going. I got the Twitch up here on Q Sports Talk. Got the YouTube up on Q Sports Talk. So we got our eyes on both of these things. We'll get into the game last week, whatever you guys want to talk about here. And man, most complete performance of the season, right? I mean, that was. I think a lot of Syracuse fans missed the first quarter because the basketball game refused to end. So I think we were working the remotes pretty hard there on Saturday. But once we got to it, it's like, all right, they got the lead, the long drives, defense has 2 turnovers. It just kind of kept going from there. Yeah,
I mean, we kind of flipped exactly what happened to us against Boston College. And, defense did a really good job of getting turnovers early. And, I think, especially the first 2 drives, wish you could have turned those field goals into touchdowns, but just to get points on the board early and create that lead was huge. Mm-hmm. And I think in the second half, we did an okay job. I felt like we could have pulled away there a little bit more than we did, but, to hold on to that lead was big, obviously. And, I mean, I think the biggest thing was just that we started fast and, didn't put ourselves in a hole early.
Yeah, it felt like, I mean, you only won by 8. It felt like you were in way more control of the game than the final number showed, right?
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I felt, especially after, like, the first quarter, we were in control and we were in the driver's seat. And I think a lot of that is because we controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides. I know they had one explosive run on offense, but for the most part, the defense shut them down. And then on offense, I thought we ran the ball really well and were really able to control the clock, which obviously helped.
Yeah, another great game when you look at what LeQuint did, and I think they had the 175-yard touchdown. They had a 50-yarder later. What they were running the ball, it was something like 3/4 of their rushing yardage came on 2 plays. So it wasn't like the BC game where it was just they kept getting hit again and again.
Yeah, no, and when the defense is playing like that, it takes a lot of pressure off the offense because you don't have to score a touchdown every drive. And I think the offense, we were able to be aggressive too in some of those situations. I think we went for it on 4th down. I want to say 3 or 4 times. And some of them ball is like right at midfield. And I think, when you have confidence in your defense, when they're playing well, it allows you to be more aggressive in those type of situations.
You were, 4 for 4 on 4th down.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. So you look at 7 of 18 on 3rd down, which is, it's okay.
Yeah.
You've done better than that in some games, but add on 4 more. That's basically 11 of 18
exactly, yeah.
On converting. That's really good. That's well above 50%.
Yeah. So, and like I said, I think a lot of that, credit goes to the defense and the O-line too. Because on some of those conversions, the 4th down ones, I think we ran the ball twice and maybe had like an incompletion, but it was still 4th and 2. So that was big. That was big for us to be able to convert. Like you said, it's really, in my eyes, it's 11 for 18 on conversions.
Yeah, I mean, okay, you didn't get the 3rd down. They don't have the ball back, so that doesn't really count on it. All right, let's get into some stuff here on the chat. Showboy Michael brings this up, and we've talked about this a lot here over the last few days. 3 losses this year, none consecutively. You've bounced back from all 3. Why do you think that has worked out so well?
I think the coaches have done a great job adjusting after we lost. And, it's always tough because nobody wants to lose, but you have to have those tough conversations. And I think the team, is resilient and being able to bounce back after each one of those losses. Obviously, they're all tough and losing's never easy, but to be resilient and, understand what went wrong and correct those mistakes and be able to come out the next week hungry and ready to go. I think that says a lot about this team.
All right. Similar items here from Any Name is Good. Sport Boy Gen B. A lot of congratulations for the East-West Shrine Bowl invite. What do we know about this? Have you accepted? Are you going there? Is that just one of your options? How does this all play out?
Yeah, I accepted it. So they invited me, Fidel, Cinco, and OG. That was kind of their first wave of invites, and I'm sure we'll have a few more guys get invited to the game. But it's basically like a all-star game for guys getting ready to go to the NFL. It's January 30th, I'm pretty sure, is the date at the Cowboy Stadium down in Texas. So it'll be a good deal. I'm excited, and hopefully a few of the other guys on the team decide to join me down there.
How do you, I don't know if you've been in contact, the Senior Bowl, there's a bunch of these things out there. How do you handle this kind of whole process of going through that stuff?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just taking it day by day. I mean, it seems like every single day there's, something else popping up, but at the same time, still have to focus on the season. And, right now, all that stuff is, kind of well into the future for me. And, I think you have to do a good job of obviously handling it because, it's important. It's your future, but, keeping the main thing. And, that's finishing the season the right way and the way we should.
So the good news, I think, is, you just rattled off a bunch of guys there. Like that speaks to why you're having a successful season, right? That the NFL or the people that, helped transition you guys to the NFL, or at least paying attention to you guys this year.
Yeah, no, and I think that, that's one of the most exciting things about this team is that there's a lot of guys that I think are going to go on and get drafted this year and then have, start their NFL careers next year. And then on top of that, there's a lot of guys that are going to come back to this team next year and then going to do the same exact thing. And I think that's going to help recruiting. I think it's going to help just the brand of Syracuse football, getting it back to what it once was with a bunch of guys coming out every year and getting drafted. So it's exciting. It's exciting. And obviously, would love to be, in the mix for the playoff right now and all that. But at the same time, there's a lot of good to be taken away from this season.
Yeah, and then obviously, hey, if you guys get drafted or have success in the league, that's self-perpetuating when it comes to recruiting down the line. What do we got here? Devin wants to know, are you still playing the NCAA video game? Do you have time?
Yeah, not as much.
Fades off. Did you ever win a title? Did you win a title with yourself?
Yeah, I won a title right when it came out in July. And then really once fall camp started up, and
a little busy?
Yeah, you get to the season, the time for video games and all that goes way down.
All right, what else do we got here? Mike Coutura on our YouTube chat says, you need to meet Miami. That way you'd go out like McNabb did. I don't know if you know this. Donovan McNabb's last game was, not only did he beat them, it was 66-13. So if you can pull that off, that'd be fun.
Yeah, no, all right. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah, hopefully we can do, some of the same, following the legends of, or following the footsteps of a legend.
Yeah, Miami was not top 10 at the time. They may have been on sanctions.
I was about to say, who was on that Miami team?
Yeah, that was, they were just, I think there was probably, I'd have to go back and look at a roster. That was 98. I bet it was a lot of guys we'd know the names of that were probably like freshmen at the time because it was the early days of rebuilding up to the up to the the 2000, 2001 teams, 2002 that were so good. But that Syracuse team was legit. They dropped them. That game was 21-0 before you blinked. You're like, oh, what just happened? Yep. Okay, what else do we got here? Tugboat Games wants to know, how has the O-line evolved for you since the beginning of the year?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you guys see it. They do a lot of substitution, kind of plug and play, and I think we probably had 8 or 9 guys get 15 reps or more this weekend at O-line. That's good. I mean, it's good when you have that many guys that can play. And I think every time that they've been challenged, they've risen to the occasion. And that's what you want to see from that group. And I think every week they just continue to get better and take steps in the right direction. And especially after the Boston College game, Coach Fran really challenged them and basically told them, we will win or lose depending on how you guys play against Cal. And they had a great week of practice, and then I think they came out, and that was the best game they've played. Didn't get sacked once. I thought we ran the ball probably the best all year. I had time to throw in the pocket, so they definitely took a few steps in the right direction last weekend.
What'd you see from Dave Wollaba? I mean, he was here last year, had the starting job at right tackle, unfortunately got hurt in the opener and missed the rest of the season. And obviously played his most that he played all year last game.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he looked great. Great last week. I think he's more athletic than what he gets credit for, and I think some of that is coming back from his injury. But I mean, he looked good. I mean, he's been really good in practice, and then obviously got a big opportunity last weekend and stepped right up to the plate. And I think it's good. It makes everybody push themselves, and it doesn't allow for anybody to be complacent in that room, and that's how it is at every single position, guard, center, and tackle. I mean, they all push each other, and there's younger guys that are pushing for reps, and the older guys know if I'm not playing my best, he's going to get a shot. So that room is definitely, I think, iron sharpens iron, but they've done a good job all year.
All right, it turns out a decent chunk of our chat was at this McNabb game that we were talking about. What do we got here? Ryan Mullen rushed the field. Edgerrin James, yes. T. Murphy reminds me. Edgerrin James was the running back. He was pretty good.
Yeah,
that worked out. Just to have is he in the NFL Hall of Fame? He's got to be. He's got to. I mean, how could he not be? That dude was unbelievable. Dan Morgan was a young. Oh, he was so young. I found the box score here. He was so young. He must have been a freshman. Edward Reed was a starting safety for Miami. He didn't even get just the Ed yet, but that tells you they were just beginning to build it back up there. Najee Davenport, who had a long NFL career as well. Okay. Any name is good wants to know this. And do get your questions in the chat, either on Twitch or YouTube, and we'll get them to Kyle. He wants to know about working with the Sims family. Have you worked with Matt and Phil? Do you still work with Matt and Phil?
No, those were the two guys I worked with all throughout high school. Obviously, both being in Jersey, I would, especially in the off season, like the spring and the summer, would throw at them 2 or 3 times a week. And I give them a lot of credit for developing my game. And so I started working with them after my sophomore year, really all the way until I left to go to college. And they've been great. They obviously, from fundamental standpoint, they helped me out a lot. But then on top of that, just having obviously 2 guys who've gone through the process, who've played in the NFL, who have that experience, who know what it's like to have them in your corner and kind of use them as a resource. It's been awesome. I still talk to them every now and then, reach out for advice, just, what to do here and, just how to handle this. And they've been great. So I'm forever indebted to both of them for the work that they put in with me.
Was Phil reminding you that he was a Super Bowl MVP? Did that need to come up? Like, hey, it was MVP of the game.
No, he's humble, but every now and then, if you get him going, he'll talk his game a little bit. So it's fun. It's fun being around him. I mean, he's still super competitive. Like, he's always on go. So I love being around both of them. They're funny, and they egg each other on too. Like, they'll start talking crap to each other, and you can just tell it gets Phil going, it gets Matt going. So it's a lot of fun to be around them.
If I'm remembering my Giants history, I think Phil, after that, I think that was the first ever I'm going to Disney World commercial. I think he was literally the first ever guy to do that, like literally right on the field after the game. All right, What else do we have here in the chat? We have a first-time chatter. Welcome, Mikey V44. What have you seen from UConn, he wants to know. He says they've been really competitive against both Wake and Duke, which has got to be noteworthy considering that you're in that league.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're not the UConn team that they used to be, and that's for sure. I mean, they're 7-3 for a reason, and they've played, like you said, Duke and Wake extremely tough. So in my eyes, I'm viewing it like they're an ACC team because they're right up to par with those type of teams, and they're really well coached. I think they have obviously a veteran head coach who's been in the game for a while. They run a lot of good stuff on defense, and they got good players as well. So it's no difference this week. Like I said, just treating it like another conference game. And so I'm excited. It'll be a really good test. But I am excited to get back in the dome and compete.
Because you look at, especially this is a very SEC thing, right? They'll play their FCS opponent like this week. Like that's not a conference game.
Yeah, no.
This, while UConn isn't, it has to open your eyes, right? That they are 7-3 and having a nice season.
Yeah, no, they're legit. They're legit, and I think just like watching the film on them, you look around, you're like, if you switch UConn's logo with an ACC team's logo, like you wouldn't think twice about it. And so they're on the rise for sure. They're off to a great start, and we know they're going to come in motivated. Obviously, I think they're coming off a bye week too, so they had extra week to prepare. So they're going to give us their best shot.
All right, Devin wants to know this. So Dick McPherson is being honored in the Ring of Honor this weekend for Syracuse football, the coach in the 80s here. Obviously, you would have never gotten a chance to meet him. Fran does a lot of stuff with it. Like, has he talked to you guys about this? Does he learn you up on the history, or is that more an off-season thing and there's no time for that during the game week here?
No, I mean, Fran, he never kind of like changes the way he talks to us. And so he'll bring up, guys from the past, coaches and players, and, just talk about, how great they were. And obviously him being a Northeast guy, he grew up watching these type of coaches and players. And so, kind of like how it is for me, playing in the same uniforms as guys like Donovan McNabb and stuff like that. Legend at my position, it's kind of the same for him, coaching the same team as some of the guys that came before him.
I could give you one of the million Coach Mack-isms out there. This is probably the most applicable from Mack is never September, sometimes October. They always remember November. He was
pretty good.
He was a man who liked to rhyme. I don't know if you'd like this one. His was enjoy the first, sip the second, refuse the third. Like that would come up as well. So we'll let that one sit on the side for you. But the remember November part feels important here, right? With 2 weeks left, like you've got the Virginia Tech win. That was November. You go to the West Coast, you win a game. UConn's sitting here. Miami's hanging out there in a week. Like, you guys have a shot for like a legit impressive month of football here.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's something that we talked about when I first got here is that in the past, Syracuse football hasn't been what it should be, especially in the month of November. And so, put ourselves in a chance to have a really good season, but we need to finish strong. And, that's been, a point of emphasis the entire time. And now you're in the fourth quarter of the season, and it's all about how you can finish.
All right, Ryan Mullen wants to know this, and keep your questions coming here in our chats here on the Twitch and on the YouTube here as we're live with Kyle every Tuesday at 11 o'clock throughout the season. So just one more on the schedule here coming up next week. I don't know what we're doing in the postseason. That's for another time. We got the regular season to deal with. All right, so Ryan Mullen is giving you a hypothetical Heisman vote. Who you got? Where are you sending that?
I don't know. I'm torn between Travis Hunter and Alshon Genty.
Genty?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think, the most dominant player, probably you go to Genty just for the, run that he's been on. I think he's had like 125 yards in every single game.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like what Travis has been doing on both sides of the ball, you haven't really seen it in college football probably since like Charles Woodson. Or is that Charles Woodson there?
Yeah, Charles. I mean, but even so, he didn't play. Yes, it was, but he didn't play nearly as much wide receiver as. I mean, Hunter's played every freaking snap of the game. Yeah. I don't. Basically, guys over the years like Chris Gamble did it for Ohio State a lot. Champ Bailey in his time at Georgia. Woodson, obviously, I think is the most famous because he turned it into the Heisman, but I don't think any of them played remotely the number of snaps as this.
I don't know. He doesn't get tired. Like,
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, like some of the stuff he does, like, it's just like not human. And then, if he's on defense, he has a crazy interception. It's like, okay, now time to go play offense. It's like Little League football, where you play both sides of the ball. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn between the two. I think probably whoever finishes the last few weeks of the season the best is going to win it. But I think it'll probably come down to those two.
Yeah, like Gentry's having a fantastic season. I can at least comprehend the idea of running for a lot of yards. I'm like, he's on pace, I still think, for the second most yards ever behind Barry Sanders. But what Hunter's doing makes no sense. Like, you shouldn't be able to physically have just that much stamina to do that every game. All right, here we go. Travis Hunter, the NCAA Shohei Ohtani. He kind of is what Shohei is for baseball. Can he keep doing that in the NFL, or is that seems like that's probably a bridge too far right in the league?
I don't know.
Like Dion did it like a little, but he had to establish himself for a minute first.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him. I think DB is probably going to be his primary position.
That'd be my guess.
And then I could see him coming over and getting some snaps at receiver. I mean, I think people saw him do it in high school, and they're like, "There's no way he does it in college," and then he does it in college. So it wouldn't shock me if he ended up doing that in the NFL too.
No, I mean, he's playing 120 snaps a game. So if he maybe dropped it to 80, he could stay nice and fresh in the league. All right, what else do we got here? Tugboat Games wants to know this. Of the freshmen that you play with, who have you seen that has taken the biggest steps throughout this season?
Jakari's done a great job at quarterback, and he goes up against our number one defense every single day. And, just talking to guys like Justin Barron and Marler, they tell me every day that he's getting a lot better. Then I'll go and watch the film, and, they're right. So he's definitely making a lot of strides in the right direction. And I think, obviously, Kerr at corner.
That's a heck of a pick he made last week.
Yeah, I mean, he's got me a few times on scout team where I think I throw a good ball, and he tracks it. And he had one in practice. It was last week. It was on Monday or Tuesday. We were going against him, and I threw like a go route on the outside, and he tipped, and it was a good ball too. Like, it wasn't like I threw it. It was a good ball. He tipped it with his right hand, and as he's falling back, snagged it one hand with his left hand and picked me off in practice. So to see him doing that in the game, like, that was like a regular interception. So those are the two guys that I think have made a lot of strides in the right direction.
All right, his twin brothers coming here next year, so there'll be another guy that looks just like him. So that'll be helpful. We saw him get obviously the most playing time he's ever had this last week, and there were injuries, and Jaden Bellamy was out, and guys have been out. Marcellus Barnes out for the year, unfortunately. The fact that you play against the guys scout team that are ascending to these roles, knowing the deal, right? Did that give you a little confidence? Because usually you get this deep down there, it's like, you must have been like, well, no, I know these guys. They can actually play.
Yeah, I mean, they can play, and obviously, Coach Friend is not going to, put a DB on the field that doesn't belong. So they, I mean, I've seen it all year in scout team and going against them, and then it's cool to see them get a shot in a big moment like that and make the most of it too. I'm excited that I don't have to go against them every day anymore in scout team, and also excited that they get an opportunity to show what they can do at a young point in their career.
It feels telling here watching this season that I think a lot of it's on defense just by the nature of what's been available as far as playing time, but you're starting to see more freshmen make a legit, they're not just on the field because we're out of guys. Like you look at, Murad Watson and Rashard Perry on defense. You mentioned Kerr and some other guys getting in there. It feels like they're legit making real impacts this season.
No, they are, and I think at first when you're a freshman and you first get to college, it takes time to get adjusted to the new playbook and the speed of the game. But I think the guys that really love football and really dive into it, I think once they get adjusted to all that and, they're not thinking as much on the field, they can just kind of play free and let their talent go. And I think that's what we've been seeing, those guys, stepping up into big roles at this point in the season. Like, Emmanuel Ross, another guy who stepped up in the Pitt game, obviously, and had a pretty good game. I think he had 70, 80 yards in that game. So to do that as a true freshman is good, and I think that's just a sign that the program as a whole is moving in the right direction.
All right, SU Bruchek is still trying to get you to come up with another year of eligibility. He wants you to. I'd say accepting the invitation to the East-West Shrine game feels like it closes the door a little bit on that stuff.
We'll see. I mean, I've only been in college for 4 years, so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, guys do 6, 7, 8, not 9 years now. You'd be
we'll
a
see.
doctor by the time you leave. All right, here's a no-win hypothetical for you from Ryan. All right, say you're 17 again. You're being recruited right now. Fran Brown's the head coach here, and you're being recruited by Ohio State at the same time. How is 17-year-old Kyle McCord going through this impossible question that I've just asked you?
Yeah, I mean, do I know what I know now, or am I?
You know what you know then. 17-year-old Kyle McCord liked Fran Brown, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take you back there. But I'm sure 17-year-old Kyle McCord also liked the idea of being Ohio State's quarterback.
I don't know. I mean, I think.
Or does the same thing happen? You go to Ohio State and then transfer to play for Fran Brown out of the portal.
I don't know. I mean, I think that, there's different routes you can take. I think at Ohio State, playing.
It's hard to turn down that at high school, right?
I mean, it's tough to turn down, but I think at the same time, you have to go. I think the biggest thing is you have to go somewhere where you're going to play, and I think that if you're in the situation where you have an opportunity to go to Ohio State, like great, and I get why you can't turn that down, but at the same time, I think you come to a school that's not necessarily like a blue chip type of program that Ohio State is like Syracuse. Although I think that Coach Fran's going to get them there pretty soon. I think that you give yourself an opportunity to play. Like we were just talking about, a lot of freshmen are playing, and I think the biggest thing is getting on the field, and that's experience that is so valuable at a young age. So I think there's pros and cons to both of it. But I think if I'm 17-year-old me and I saw Syracuse throwing the ball 50 times a game and throwing for a whole bunch of yards, and knowing that Coach Fran was here, I think I would come here.
Well, in many ways, it feels like that's why the season you're having this year is so important. I mean, obviously for you personally and all that, but for whomever is the quarterback next year, be it Jakari Williams, be it another portal guy, like they get to see what you did last year. Like there's proof of concept now, right? Yeah. Like last year you took it on faith. They're taking it on like, oh, well, yeah, that looks like fun.
Yeah. I mean, well, when I was in the portal, I mean, talking to Coach Nixon, he was like, we're going to throw the ball a lot. And every coach.
It's like, yeah, sure we are.
Yeah, every coach says that. But, I mean, he's definitely lived up to his word on that. But, yeah, I think that, this is it's a fun offense to play in. I think it takes, obviously, a lot of, I think, work for the quarterback to play in, because, there's a lot on your plate every single week. But, if you can succeed in this offense, I think that puts you in a really good position for the next level.
Yeah, it's very similar to a lot of stuff they do at the next level that at the National Football League. Ryan Mullen says that was a great answer to a crazy question. That
was a good question, though.
Yeah, no, he tried to stuff you in the corner on that one, but I think you found your way.
That was a good question.
I think you found your way out on that one. All right, Ryan will follow up on this. How would you sell SU to not a high school recruit, but like a 4 or 5 star? How do you sell Syracuse to the prime recruits out there that Fran is legit going after right now?
I mean, I think you see the progress that he's made in year one, to look at where the program was last year, and then to see the trajectory that we're on this year. I think it's night and day, and I think his track record speaks for itself. And I think you can ask any player on the team right now that's played for him, and even the guys at Georgia and at his stops before, like he's a great player coach, and you're able to relate to the head coach on a personal level, which is important, especially in the recruiting process, and then obviously once you get to school, and then on top of that, you're going to play against the best competition every single day in practice as well, on the weekends. So it's a lot of fun to come here. The fans are super supportive, and just from my experience being here for less than a year at this point, I got nothing but great things to say about it.
It feels like you hear the term player coach and you think like, oh, that's the program you can go and get away with whatever you want. Fran feels like the player coach that'll also get up your butt when you more often than not.
I mean, he's the thing that I think everybody respects about Fran is he tells you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's good news and sometimes it's not. But regardless, whatever comes out of his mouth, it's the truth. And I think that's why guys respect him so much.
All right, there we are. There is yet another exciting edition of the Kyle McCord Show. We got one more officially scheduled next week, Kyle. We'll have to see what the postseason brings us when bowl games and schedules and plans and all that stuff comes out. But good luck this week, man. We'll do it again next week, all right?
Yep, thank you.
All right, there he is. Kyle McCord will be on the field noon Saturday in the Dome against UConn.